What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 14 of season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. We're going to be talking full spoilers, so hopefully you've watched this episode. Would be wild for you to have found a video on YouTube for a 14th episode of a second season and not expect spoilers. So we're going to be talking about it. We're going to do a real quick recap, though, and a lot of things happened in another episode now that has just been a full fight. I'm not going to go into every little detail of the fight. You guys watched it. We'll discuss what we liked about it in a sec. But basically, as a recap, we find out what's been happening with Mei Mei, and I think his name's Wee Wee, as she called him. I did not know that was his name until just now. I was like, Wee Wee. They're in the domain expansion with the curse. He is basically putting people in coffins, dropping gravestones on them, and if they're in there for long enough, they get a disease. I think you said smallpox. She's making a strategy on how to fight this thing because he's targeting the highest powered cursed users. She decides to sacrifice Wee Wee, who is more than glad to sacrifice himself for her. And while it targets him, she's able to get in there, cut its hands off. It goes for another strike after that, and she is able to send one of her crows through it like a bullet, which was very satisfying to watch. Very cool. And we kind of learned a little bit about her abilities, basically, in this moment. They're able to escape the domain expansion, and they are literally met by Ghetto-ish, whatever he is, because he's not really Ghetto, as far as we know. Which was surprising because I thought he was going to be further down the tunnel, but he's just waiting the whole time, I guess. And so we will see what happens there. But basically, yeah, they're going to fight. She says this is the main fight that they're going to be doing. And we now know that Wee Wee is there to help with certain things like, I guess he had specialization with domain expansions.
Yeah, because her only ability is in crows.
Yeah.
And so she needs basically a defense, and that's his job to deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so that was an interesting little tidbit and quite the intro for this episode. Then the rest of the episode is basically Maki. Welcome back, Maki. Haven't seen her in a while. Nanami and drunk old guy, something Beto. I don't remember his name, but I'll get it unless he dies. We'll see. But they're heading down into the subway like the plan was originally to go rescue Gojo. They run into a weak, little weird aquatic cursed thing that is just kind of whining about stuff. They attack it. It starts bringing up all the curses that it knows, Jogo, Mahito, and then brings up Hanami, who is dead. That upsets it. And it ends up evolving the Pokemon to its second form. And they realize it is a cursed womb. And it gave birth to a new thing. I think it's called Dagon or Dogon. Looks like Cthulhu, kind of. It's like a crab
Very
guy.
squid-like, yeah.
They end up getting into a fight with it. It basically uses a lot of aquatic moves like water abilities, has like a water shield. It's able to fill the room with water for a second. Maki's a little out of her element because she's not of the same class as the other two dudes, but she's, stubborn and wants to help any way she can. Nanami and old drunk guy go fighting the dude, and well, they all do. And we find out some info on the old guy who's a drunk. He basically, his ability works in frames. We find out that he's able to move within 1/24th of a frame, so he has up to 24 moves that he has to commit to, and anyone who touches also has to do that. If they're not able to commit all 24 moves of those frames, they freeze in place. So you see multiple times in this episode early on in the fight, him seems like he's teleporting, but it's because he's moving in this frame movement, getting behind the dude, touching him, and then they have no idea what's going on, so they don't do anything, and then they freeze into like a flat frame, and then he punches them, which is kind of a neat ability. Definitely has some creativity to it. I wasn't expecting to see some animation and frame talk in the show. So yeah, they're fighting it. It's going pretty decent, but then when the old guy is about to what seems to be finish the thing off, it drops them all into its domain expansion, which is a beachside paradise. where it has full ability to basically cast fish that attack nonstop. So yeah,
I believe they said infinite.
infinite, yeah. So it does that, and they attempt to defend themselves, and it goes from a pretty decent even fight to them basically trying to survive. These fish are attacking everyone. They surround Nanami. He's engulfed in them. Maki's not having a good time. The old guy is able to defend himself a bit from it because
Here's a technique, yeah.
yeah, and so they're not hitting him at first, but then the crab dude decides to focus 70% of his ability on him, and then 30% on Nanami, and then Maki for him is not an issue because she's just somebody with a weapon to him. So yeah, things are going really bad. It's seeming pretty dire. Maki is getting ready to basically go out fighting because her weapon's broken, but she doesn't want to just get killed by some fish. So she basically tells the dude, you need to hit me with like a single blow if you're going to kill me. And when things are looking bad, Megami is able to break into the domain expansion, and he starts trying to rival its domain expansion with his while he's trying to cast it. And yeah, Nanami shows up next to him after getting fucked up by a bunch of fish, and he's not looking too good. And he starts talking with Megami about, keep doing what you're going to do. I'll defend you. Megami essentially tells him that he knows that the other guy assumes that he's trying to compete for domain expansion, but his plan is to basically bust a hole out of the domain expansion so that they can escape, and they would be able to fight him on a more even field outside of his domain expansion, because obviously he has the edge here. So Nanami, which I appreciated, said this isn't going to be one of those situations where you get left behind, right? And he essentially says, he
risking his life but not throwing it away.
Yes, that's exactly what he said, which I like, because I was like, is this going to be one of those situations where like I'll stay back and press the button, you guys got to go. So yeah, that's the plan. They call everyone to the spot where they're going to blow the hole out of the domain expansion. During this time, we also find out that the old guy's lost his 71-year-old arm. So I assume that's how old he is. He seems like he's taken it's just a flesh wound route on how to take that information. But
very Shanks of him.
Yeah, but he does make the comment that that arm was 71 years old, so I'm not you're gonna pay for that, basically. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of funny. This guy's definitely growing on me within one episode. And yes, they get ready to blow out of the hole, and as soon as they do that, seemingly, I think it's him, Toji, I think that's his name, Megami's dad, comes flying through.
Huge smile on his face.
Yeah. So that's a big deal.
Terrible cliffhanger.
So I'm wondering if he's going to come in there, kill the crab, and then they're going to have a dialogue. I don't know.
If it's only the crab.
Yeah. So thoughts? This is a crazy episode.
This whole season's been a roller coaster, man. Another awesome episode. They got at first when they ran it, I thought they were going to run into Joko. And when they ran into that like little squid thing, I was like, what the hell is this? Like, why does this matter? Mm-hmm. And then when it grew again, I was like, it's like, all right, whatever. We're just making a throwaway villain so we can, waste some time, basically. Which kind of is the case, obviously.
And show off the old guy.
But it also shows, yeah, exactly. But it also shows a difference between the person Nanami fucking just trampled all over, and then this person is like, it's huge difference, because it takes three of them, and they can't just like instant kill them. It's it's a process. Also, this episode does a really good job of reminding us about domain expansions, because it's been a while. But even early on, they said, when you're in one, it's basically guaranteed hit. You're dead unless you cancel it with your own, or you immediately get rid of the other. Like, you have to do something immediately, or you're dead. Like, you're just
it's like using your special in a fighting game.
Yeah.
Better be blocking when that happens.
And obviously, like with the smallpox curse, it was a 3-step process for that instant hit to happen. Though she was taking some damage every time, anyways. It wasn't enough to kill her, but she had mentioned that Wee Wee would die in 1 if it happened to him. So there was a bit of a gamble using him, and then with the aquatic, curse. Excuse me. Its ability was literally just infinite attacks with just flying fish, basically. So, pretty creative for sure. And then I also liked that, Nanami's basically like struggling just to defend this whole time inside there. Maki's being underestimated, which is honestly to her advantage in this, because otherwise she'd probably be dead by now.
Yeah.
And then the old man, because he's a bad match for the fish person. He's kind of viewed as the big threat type of thing. Yeah. And then that whole sequence is just really cool. Also, just the way they were kind of planning on like busting out, because once they're out, it's easier to like do something about it.
Well, they're not going to be attacked nonstop by his ability.
Yeah. And they could break the domain basically.
Yeah.
And then, the curveball, like literally right before they stopped with, what's the name again? Toji show. I still think it's Toji. At first, I thought it was the kid from the movie. I can't remember his name, but he was supposed to be the main character originally. But then I realized when I saw the grinning face that it wasn't. It was definitely. I'm pretty positive it's Megumi's dad. So, and then they just stopped. So, screw you for making me wait a week to figure that one out.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. That was a cliffhanger for sure, especially in an episode that basically wasn't getting the ball rolling on any story. It was just a situation where they're getting their asses kicked, and somebody could die. Somebody just lost an arm, so the stakes are there. And then leaving off with, not only are they not escaping the threat that's going to kill them, but now there's a new threat. Like, it's just not a good situation unless he likes them and wants to help them. But I don't think that's going to be the case. So we'll find out. Although I've been very curious about him interacting with Megumi. So
True.
The faster we can get to that, the better, because I would like to know what that dynamic is.
I feel like the crab dude and the old man at the very least are dead, though. I feel like they're both gone.
I feel like the old guy's going to die too. Since like the beginning, I was like, we don't really know a whole lot about you. You are definitely, they already were able to make you interesting and charming enough for me to like you. And your ability's cool. But like, if you died right now, I'd just be like, oh, that sucks. But that's about it.
Yeah.
So he could be definitely a.
I even slightly worry about Nanami, to be honest. So
yeah, I was thinking about that too. I don't think anything's gonna happen to Maki, but
I think the kids will be fine.
But. Yeah, but I do think a lot of the older people are at the point where they've been around long enough that if they get killed off, it'll just be it'll be a Rengoku situation. So, oh god, that might have been a spoiler for somebody who hasn't watched an anime. I'm not gonna say.
Doesn't matter if you don't say anymore.
Yeah. I just thought about that. I was like, oh, fuck. But yeah, this episode was really cool. I don't think it was as good as the last one. Not that I'm going to compare every episode to the last one, but the last one was really fucking good. But, but this one's keeping the momentum going still. After that last episode where it's like a whole fight and there's like the whole, sacrificial feeling of Yuji in that fight and then being left like, what the fuck's going to happen next? We come into this episode where we're seeing that other people are also fighting things that are big challenges for them as well. So you get a good idea of like kind of the net that's being thrown across the situations that everybody is in right now. So yeah, we start off with Mei Mei, which I thought was a really cool intro, even though, it was basically just her getting out of there. But it kind of gave us insight on not only the way she fights, but also her dynamic with Wee Wee, which I have been waiting to know more about.
Also, every time like they zoomed in on her face, whoever drew her for this show, holy crap, those lines were crispy.
That whole intro, I think, was done like really. I was like, is this whole episode going to be like, super detailed? And it was a good episode for the most part. But I noticed towards the end of the episode, a lot of the fight sequences weren't as well animated as that intro sequence. So I don't know.
They definitely lowered a bit to do more animation.
Yeah.
Versus like hers was very like because there wasn't a lot of like constant animation happening. It was a lot of just
Yeah.
still frames and stuff. So you got like
It was
really
like
crispy
super
drawings.
contrasty and punchy and really good looking
Yeah, it
for
was
sure.
awesome.
Yeah, and then yeah, the whole fight was really neat and cool to see that, you know, even under threat of, you know, disease and a situation that seems like it'd be pretty fucked for most people, her and the little guy were able to figure it out and get the hell out of there. So it gives us a little bit of hope for her against Ghetto, although I feel like he's going to be more powerful than her for sure. But she is proving that she's powerful, so that's cool. And then yeah, moving into the rest of the episode, is cool to see Maki again. Definitely cool to see Nanami. I've been waiting to see him again ever since he just trucked that nerd into a building. And then the old
so
guy,
satisfying.
yeah, for sure. And then the old guy, I was like, okay, we got a new expendable character, and he might be, but within the time we've known him, I already like him, so they did a good job on that. I think his abilities were really neat. I thought that was funny that while the most nonsensical conversation happened in this episode between Crab Dude just talking about how we're people, we got names, fucking, you know, that there's Mahito, there's Jogo, all this shit, and the other guy is just complaining about how TVs on standard have
Technology is advanced, but they all default to soap opera mode.
yeah. And he's just bitching about what a lot of people bitch about. I bitch about that. I thought that was kind of funny that they were just talking right past each other. Yeah, but his ability is really cool, especially the way it was explained and kind of seeing it in motion. Also, the whole 24 frames per second thing. It's it was just it was neat. And then yeah, he could just pause people and punch them. For anybody who would be aware of his ability, I feel like would make it pretty complicated for him. Definitely. Hopefully, he has some other moves that would be would supplement his combat. Because yeah, once you learn that, dude, you would be able to do what he's doing. It would come down to trying to interrupt somebody's movement when they're doing it. So, but it's a really cool ability. Hopefully he doesn't die instantly, so I can see a little bit more of how that will come into play when it comes to combat. 'Cause I think it's a cool idea. The whole domain expansion aspect when they go in there and they're just getting their asses kicked felt dire, felt good, because I want to feel like the characters can die, and this whole season's definitely pushing that. So nobody's having like nobody's having an easy time, including Gojo, which is crazy. So the season's been really good for that. I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why I like the season more than season one, is just because it feels like there's more stakes involved. And there's a singular objective and like operation that's happening with a lot of different elements going on, a lot of different strings being pulled by different people, and it's just a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, the fight was cool. It's really interesting that this old guy is so powerful that this crab guy's got he's not even a crab. I just call him a crab because he's red, but he's more of an octopus. Maki even called him an octo bitch, which I thought was interesting. But just the dynamic of who he's viewing as threats is really interesting. That, you know, Nanami's putting 30% at 70% at the old guy. Nanami's pretty powerful, but apparently this old guy is much more powerful, but he seems more like a caster sorcerer type, so they're always a little more tricky if you let them do their thing. And then yeah, Maki, right, you know, with her character being stubborn, she shouldn't even be here, but she is, and she's ready to go down with the ship. So that's fun. Although, like I said earlier, I don't think anything's going to happen to her. Then Megami showing up, that wasn't even remotely on my this will happen list.
Yeah.
But he did. He showed up. I'm like, okay, that's good, because he's got a bunch of tricks up his sleeve. So, and the whole escape plan I thought was neat too. That it wasn't we're going to do this and defeat him. It's like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Kind of felt like you know, when you're playing like Payday 3 or something like that, and you're like, we gotta get the fuck out of this bank. They're about to do another rush. So yeah, I kind of like that. And then yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens with Toji. If that was him, looked like him. It was so brief. Probably should just rewatch that scene real quick to see, but it seemed like him. Can't wait for next week to find out what the hell's happening with that, because I I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen here. Like we watched last episode. I'm like, that's crazy. What happens next? And now this happens. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, not two cliffhangers. Thanks.
Where's this go now? Like, yeah, it's starting to feel a little, not quite in a subject matter, but like Game of Thronesy in terms of like, there's a lot of different directions things are going now. And I'm really curious to see where it all goes, but really good episode. A lot of fun. And yeah, can't wait to see what happens next. Anything else?
That covers it.
All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think about this episode. What were the biggest highlights of this episode for you? Did you like it? Did you not like it? If you didn't like it, why didn't you like it? If you liked it, why did you like it? And was there something in this episode that we missed possibly? There's a lot of things that happened within the milliseconds of this episode going. I was like, okay, what's happening here? What's happening there? If there's something you want to talk about, throw in the comments. Let's talk about it. And what do you think is going to happen in the next episode? Unless you know what's going to happen, then don't tell us, please, because we have not read the manga. We want to go in spoiler free so we can enjoy all the big surprises as we have. And we appreciate everybody who hasn't spoiled anything for us, who's been watching these reviews. But yeah, let me know everything you think about the comments below when it comes to this episode and next episode. And I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Until next episode, we'll talk to you guys later.